This is all right. The history of Sargon II versus the Israelites. It says Sargon II of Assyria fought the Israelites by conquering their capital, Samaria, in 722 BC, which led to the exile of the 10 northern tribes and the end of the northern kingdom of Israel. And that's what I was reading in that second Ezra 13. This event was a result of Assyrian expansion and is recorded in both Assyrian annals and the biblical books of Kings and Isaiah. Sargon also deported and resettled and conquered populations, a practice that contributed to the formation of the Samaritans. It says the conflict is and its outcome. Conquest of Samaria. In 722 BC, Sargon II captured Samaria, the capital of the northern kingdom of Israel, effectively ending the kingdom. Exile of Israelites. Sargon deported 27,290 Israelites, resettling them in various parts of the Assyrian Empire. This event led to the notion of the 10 lost tribes of Israel. It says resettlement. As part of the deportation policy, Sargon also settled foreign populations in the territory of Israel, leading to the development of a mixed culture and the eventual rise of the Samaritans around Mount Gerizim, which were Africans. That's Yahushua when he said, "Go not into the way of the Samaritans." If I'm not mistaken, it's Matthew chapter 10 when he was sending the disciples out. The history also not only in Second Ezra, it's Acts. I keep saying Acts. Second Kings chapter 17 is that this history as well. Historical records. The event is documented in Assyrian records, including Sargon's own annals, which claim to have resettled Samaria more than it had been settled before. It is also referenced in biblical books of Isaiah and Kings. Impact. The fall of Samaria and the subsequent exile was a major turning point in the history of Israel, fulfilling prophetic warnings and marking the end of the northern kingdom's independence. It says the context of the conquest, Assyrian dominance. Sargon II's conquest of Israel was part of a larger pattern of Assyrian expansionism in the ancient Near East. Prior conflict, the conquest was the culmination of a longer struggle. Sargon's predecessor, Shalmaneser V, had already laid siege to Samaria, but Sargon was the one who completed the conquest. See? Rebellion. The Assyrian conquest of Israel was part of a larger effort to suppress rebellion in the region, which were often supported by Egypt. And this was all because Jake wanted to do idol worship. But this didn't say what I have right here. I'm thinking a second. Yeah, so that's why I be hating when I put the same thing in this Google as I put in my phone. My phone gave me a total different definition. But it says well, let me see, because I might have read through it too fast. Nope, I didn't read through it too fast. Okay, my phone states it has another section, another passage, so to speak. Aftermath in Judah. Many Israelites fled south to the kingdom of Judah, and that was Levi, who went back with Judah. And King Hezekiah expanded Jerusalem's defenses in response to the Assyrian threat. Yeah, that's what I wanted to get out because the only ones that went back was the Levites. The rest of the tribes they left eventually. It is from the said in Second Ezra. Second Ezra chapter 13. Let's start at verse 40 again. I'll start at verse 39. And whereas thou saw that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him, these are the 10 tribes which were scattered. See, 10 tribes again. It's all lining up. Which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king. who Salmanaser V, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, which is America. Verse 42. That they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river, right? And they did come and keep the statutes, but they eventually went off. For the Most High then shewed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over. This is Bible prophecy. The Lord allowed them to come to this way, over here to America. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. It took them a year and a half to come over here to America from over there. And the same region is called Asarat. Okay, this next precept is Psalms 106:34. This is Psalm chapter 106, verse 34. They did not destroy the nations concerning whom the Lord Yahweh commanded them. This is our history. But were mingled among the heathen and learned their works. And they served their idols, which were a snare unto them. Yea, they sacrificed their sons and their daughters unto devils, human sacrifice. Jacob followed the heathen, copied their customs, came up with their own demons and deities. It says, and shed innocent blood, even the blood of their sons and of their daughters, whom they sacrificed unto the idols of Canaan, and the land was polluted with blood. Thus were they defiled with their own works, and went a whoring with their own inventions. Therefore was the wrath of the Lord kindled against his people, insomuch that he abhorred his own inheritance, and he gave them into the hand of the heathen, and they that hated them ruled over them. And that's just throughout history. Taking them to do idol worship, sin against the Lord. The Lord delivered them to the heathen, and then eventually redeemed them back once they repented. Same thing that's going on over here in America. Their enemies also oppressed them, and they were brought into subjection under their hand. Many times, see, did he deliver them, but they provoked him with their counsel and were brought low for their iniquity. Nevertheless, he regarded their affliction when he heard their cry, and he remembered for them his covenant. He repented according to the multitude of his mercies. He made them also to be pitied of all those that carried them captives. Save us, O Lord our God, and gather us from among the heathen to give thanks unto thy holy name and to triumph in thy praise. Let me get this Revelation 21:8. So I speed this up for my computer cut off. This Revelation chapter 21, verse 8. It says, but the fearful and unbelieving, and the abominable, and murderers, and whoremongers, and sorcerers, and idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone. That's the nuclear missiles. So if you got these characteristics or partake in that sorcery and idolatry and things of that nature, you're going to be hit with thermonuclear fire. That's what it says. Their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone. That's nuclear missiles, man, which is the second death. Right. Yeah. So that's what you niggas got coming, man. Rappers and actors that are alive that worship these idols, that's what y'all got coming. Notice how they building up in Africa. They taking part in the religions and shit. This is one of my favorite precepts, First Corinthians chapter 6, verse 9. It says, "Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God?" Y'all gotta die first via the second death, or die first via the other deaths. But y'all not going straight into the kingdom like how the elect is going. Be not deceived. Well, a lot of y'all aren't going. Those on the other side of the world that are wicked, they eventually gonna cast away their idols and be made righteous. But those that's over here in America, y'all gotta die first, man. It says, "Be not deceived, neither fornicators, nor idolaters," idol worship, "nor adulterers, nor effeminate homosexuals, nor abusers of themselves with mankind," same thing, "nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor revilers, nor extortioners shall inherit the kingdom of the Most High. And such were some of you, but ye are washed by the word. But ye are sanctified, set separate from all these heathenistic people, uh, come up under the tutelage and the doctrine of the gospel, the true understanding, the elect, the chosen, predestination, separated from the world and the wickedness that it has to that's in the wickedness of the world. Slack. It says, "And such were some of you, but ye are washed, but ye are sanctified, but ye are justified in the name of the Lord Yahweh Shai by the Spirit of our God." Right. This is Ephesians chapter 5. Bear with me. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 5. "For this ye know, that no whoremonger, nor unclean person, nor covetous man who is an idolater," idolatry, hath an inheritance in the kingdom of Yahweh Shai and of the Most High. Yeah, so you can't go to heaven if you worship idols, man. You gotta die here first and be birthed back in up under the elect, the chosen. Over here, at least over here in America. I'm gonna jump to verse 18. It says, "And be not drunk with wine, wherein is excess," as philosophies, "but be filled with the Spirit." The Spirit is the word, the truth. This is the last precept. This is Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10. "Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might." The Bible. "Put on the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles, the tricks of the devil. This industry is a trick unto you. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers." These are principalities, man, spirits. The elites allowed them to worship these idols, and this is a part of the keeping of Jake's sleep. Yeah, it says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, these demons, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world," the elites, because they do witchcraft as well, "against spiritual wickedness in high places." This world is given into the hand of the wicked. So there's nothing but wickedness and witchcraft that's in this place, man. "Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day." Right, so you need the truth to stand in these days, so you won't be put to death because of all the demonic shit that's going on. And having done all to stand, stand therefore having your loins girded about with truth, and having on a breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. There's peace between you and the Lord. How do you make peace between you and the Lord? Having his word. "Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith you shall be able to quench, to put out all the fiery darts of the wicked. And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of the Most High, praying always with all prayer and supplication of the Spirit, and watching unto prophecies, with all perseverance and supplication for all saints." Right. So I'm gonna go ahead and end it with that, man. Call all Yahweh Shem Abishai, Bashim Kakadash, double honors to the elders, the apostles, every will, and salutations to the brothers that's doing the truth and sincere.